Welcome. And so guys, tell us, what are the hottest innovations and investments in cybersecurity in your book? Who wants to go first?
Jennifer, it's a great question. We are always asked this every year. And I think cybersecurity industry is really inventing itself, very rapidly to catch up with the pace of the threat landscape and with the tech trends. And there are always numerous, very interesting spaces for innovation and spaces for investment. If I have to choose two, the obvious is cloud security. I'm sure you have a lot to say about it. And I want also to talk about Web3 and crypto. Maybe it's a little bit disruptive. Cloud security shortly, it's already a matured market. We have the CASB, we have the CSPM, we have already matured product, also the native cybersecurity services. But there are a lot of problems still to solve. Let's take, for example, the privileges, the authority management. When you move to the cloud, especially to SaaS, it breaks the role-based model, and you can't really copy-paste the way you manage entitlements. So we need innovations there, data, and so forth. A little bit about Web3. Web3 is very disruptive. We started with crypto, but essentially the concept is moving and shifting from centralized organization to decentralized organization, enabling, based on blockchain, okay? I don't want to say the word, but it's enabling individuals and businesses actually to own and monetize, okay, their data, their content, their identity, and there's a whole new tech stack. Okay, we see it today in gaming, we see it, of course, in cryptocurrency, in decentralized finance, and this world is growing, and it's actually disrupting the business models of today. And when you have a new tech stack, you will have a new cyber security stack. So authentication, finding vulnerabilities in smart contracts, fraud detection, okay? So I see here a new cyber tech stack.
Super.
So,
Kobi, please.
Okay. So, we started our fund about 11 years ago. It's a long time now, and I believe we've been the first cyber-focused fund globally. Back then, the major motivation was advanced attacks. So the story was, there's this new emerging types of attacks, much more sophisticated, different, very much different than what used to be, and the industry needs to be able to build tools and solutions to be able to cope with that. But this was a transient thing, right? So you would assume that after a few years, these types of attacks, the industry would know how to tackle them. It did not happen, and I think what did happen is, and going back to Elik's point about the cloud, the infrastructure is changing. So in recent years, it's been not about the change of attackers, but more importantly, the change of infrastructure. And we use the term cloud, but there's really so many different things when you use this term. And really what it means is that our entire IT infrastructure is changing. So it's IaaS, it's PaaS, it's SaaS, so it's internal applications, it's external applications, it's cards connected to the cloud, and more and more. So this trend of IT infrastructure is changing, is causing us as an industry to change the tools and to change the solutions that we're using, and also in many cases, I think, to change the brands that are leading this effort. And just one example, and I'm sure we'll touch this later, is the what we call shift left, or more and more involvement of developers. So one of the sub-trends related to this cloud revolution is that developers are becoming more and more important. And if they are important, sometimes they will need to be the folks that are consuming, or at least partially consuming, the security solutions. So you need to create a whole new set of brands to be able to sell them security solutions. So, and I think we'll continue to see the way this change of infrastructure, IT infrastructure, influences our industry in cloud. And this is why we don't see the end of it yet, because again, the infrastructure continues to change and evolve, and we need to adapt with it.
Thank you. And Stav, please tell us what you have to say.
Working? No? Can you hear me? Yes. So when discussing trends, I can say that we can divide it into a few verticals. Sorry?
Put your microphone.
Mouse closer?
Yeah.
Okay. Like a radio?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can divide trends into a few type of trends. So in terms of technology, I would say that we're seeing more and more application security solutions. Now in application security, whether it's SCA security, CI/CD, pipeline security solutions, various solutions for software security. Recently, we had a demo day in our club, and we saw that 70% and more from the companies presented were from the AppSec industry, which also excited our members. Like many of them are coming from AppSec area. Another trend that we're seeing is more and more security governance and compliance solution, something which was less trendy in the past and was more for the people that dealt with risk, more compliance people in organizations. And now we're seeing more and more mainstream cyber founders coming and joining this trend and founding companies which are there to solve compliance challenges, and that's something which we're seeing lately, and I'll be curious to see. Yeah, you're nodding, that's okay, the good sign.
RegTech.
Sorry?
Regulation tech.
Regulation tech, but again, cyber focus, compliance, cyber compliance focus. Another, so as I said, we can segment it into few. So technology-wise, AppSec and compliance, CyberSec. Then if we're talking about the founders themselves, so we see that, we not only see the youngsters who are coming from 8-200 unit, just straight from college, but we do see more entrepreneurs that are more mature, spend a decade and more in the corporate, in the IBMs of this world, and then came with their connections, their experience, they know how to build products, and then they come to VCs, and then they come with this idea. They raise their kids, they're now older, and now they have the ability to go and make their dream come true and found a cyber startup. Another differentiation is that I'm based in London, so we see founders both from Israel, both from the UK, and from the rest of the world. So for example, you see in Israel, you see more deep tech companies, more technology-focused company, while in the UK, you see more companies that focus on the areas of, again, compliance, CISO dashboard, visibility for the, let's say, steering committee level and above. So that's also a differentiator and a trend that we're seeing now.
Thank you. So I want to touch on something that you just said. You mentioned that there are lots of different cybersecurity startups that are targeting application security, and I can tell you as a journalist, like I get pitches from cybersecurity startups in my inbox all the time from companies that are focusing on application security and zero-day and SaaS security and identity management, and it is absolutely impossible for me to tell what's the difference. What is your differentiator? There's many. Everybody's been started by somebody from 8,200 unit. Everybody has raised 20, 30 million. How do you guys do it? How do you tell, which one is the winner, and what do you look for? What do you look for when these companies pitch you?
You are asking us to disclose all our secrets on stage, but I must comment before you say, Kobi, that everybody says 8,200, and I served for 20 years in 8,200, but they are great cybersecurity entrepreneurs that weren't born and raised in 8,200, even coming from London, okay, and maybe from Golani in Israel, okay.
I'm from Seret Golani, so it's...
By the way, we have in our portfolio now two... just FYI, we have in our portfolio now two CISO turned into entrepreneurs, and their companies are doing great. So that's another venue for you. If there are CISOs in the cloud that want to start companies, please give me a call.
I even know a CISO that turned into an investor.
Yeah, that's I wouldn't recommend that, but in any case, I think what we've seen last couple of years, specifically because of what you said, is more and more funds that are becoming experts in cyber, and this became more an expertise type of area. So I'm seeing lots of generic funds that are saying, specifically for C, they're saying, that could be Glilot, or this could be Elik, or maybe group of CISOs would do the seed, and we will join later when the numbers start to look, when you can see stuff in the numbers. So I think what we see first is people becoming more experienced specifically on that. And again, when we started our fund, I think we were the first cyber-focused fund globally, and now there are more in Israel and more abroad. So And it's not going to go down because just the opportunity is so huge. I think second is about the people. So I said before, if those are second-time entrepreneurs, and we see now a lot of them. So we see a lot of great folks that started their companies, 5-6 years ago, build it, sold it, maybe not a huge exit, spend some time with the buying company, now want to start the second one. Those are perfect to invest in. Also, again, maybe CISOs that really know their space. So there are people that really understand the space, probably more important than anything. And at least this is what we do. We throw them very, very quickly to our network of advisors, of CISOs, to see if if they like the story. One of the big challenges today is that you need, as an early stage investor, you need to get to decisions like in a matter of 48 hours or something like that. So the ability to call in advisors to give you real, straightforward feedback about the company in a matter of days, and when I'm saying days, it's not 4 days, it's more 1 or 2 days. That's very important also for us to make those decisions in a good way.
Thank you.
I completely agree with Kobi concerning your first point. Cybersecurity is like a hyper-fragmented market with categories and subcategories. And when you open a category, then becomes, a dozen of 3-letter acronyms. Like Gartner, they don't have 3-letter acronyms left, so they move to 4-letter acronyms like CSPM and SOAR, okay? And in order to understand the different, 50 levels of gray color, you really need to be an expert, okay? Mm-hmm. And I completely agree with you, Kobi. So what we do, first of all, we are domain experts. I was a CISO, 8200. Kobi is here in the cloud, CRO of Rafael, and our team are domain experts. And then we leverage, we don't have all the world's wisdom, so we leverage the CISO network, and not only CISOs, okay, security experts. And today, when shifting left, you need to talk with developers, okay? Mm-hmm. And we have to do it quickly. And actually, as a seed investors, we invest in people, in teams. So we are looking for, very sharp, passionate teams, preferably with not only tech skills, but also business skills. It's not always this way, okay?
Yes.
And trying to address a very large problem with a good narrative in cybersecurity.
So, Stav, how do you
I would say, yeah, as an
choose?
investor, I think you should be in a position when you're not the smartest person in the room. So the power of network and of individuals that can be there with you and potentially also have some skin in the game themselves and can help you validate the investment. It's crucial, I think, for especially early stage investments. Another criteria or something that at least we are looking at when we engage with entrepreneurs is whether the team are people that will be happy to work with them moving forward. Mm-hmm. Because the investment itself or the stage in which you choose to put your money and your effort at someone is the initial stage, which will be followed by potentially years of mutual work. So you want to find such people that you would want to engage with, you want to work with, you will be happy to exchange WhatsApp messages over the weekend with. And this is also something that I think every investor or a VC think to themselves before they sign the check or before they send the thumbs up emoji on WhatsApp.
So I'm conscious that, we don't have that much more time left. So what I want to make sure we get to is I want to flip the question that I just asked and instead ask each of you, how do you pitch yourselves to entrepreneurs? Because we've moved away from a world where entrepreneurs would just grab the first term sheet that they got. Today, they might get 6 or 7 different term sheets. So how do you present yourselves to the entrepreneurs? Why should they go with you and your firm?
First of all, I think that VC competition is great. It makes us all better, okay? And first and foremost, I think that founders and entrepreneurs choose VCs based on their relationship and trust. As Stav said, it's like bidirectional with the partners and with the VC team, okay? And because people are different, also VCs are different, okay? Now, I think that all of us are also building this value creation platform, okay? And not only giving the VCs funding, but also giving them value. In our case in Elron, we invest as early as it gets, 2 guys and a deck. with no code, with no product. So our platform is aimed to helping the founders like crossing I would call it the valley of death, and reaching product market fit and the first revenue. So we have like our collaborations with corporations that are the first design partners. It's very important, okay? And of course our US-based and Euro-based, the CISO network to help them with go-to-market and product positioning. And ourselves, as experts, and our ex-entrepreneurs to coach the first-timers. So we build this kind of platform. I see it in a lot of VCs, and I think it's very good for the industry because we can see a higher hit ratio of startups that are going to growth stages, and it's great.
Thanks. Okay, so now I have to put the same constraints on you guys that, the startups usually get on the stage. You got to give your pitch in like 2 minutes, each of you.
So I'll try to be quick. First, I think super important for the founders, for the entrepreneurs to check the VC. And actually, to me, if founders are not doing that, to me, that's not a good sign. Just like we're checking them, they should check us, and they should feel comfortable, and not just take the offer just because it's the first one, or maybe the price is a bit better, the valuation is a bit better, or whatever. I think for us, the easy thing is just to connect them with other portfolio companies and let them ask existing entrepreneurs, what are their thoughts. As Elik is saying, at the end of the day, it's mostly about the help we can provide to portfolio companies. We're super proud of having a very, very high hit rate in our first fund. It's 7 out of 8 companies that had successful exits. Then it becomes more difficult to count because the numbers are so high. But the bottom line is we're there with the founders that even if there are issues, and there are always issues, we are there to help them figure out what's the right solution to find it and to generate success. And to me, that's probably the most important thing. So that to be with them, even in rainy days, even if initial vision end up not being that accurate, even if there are other issues, funding issues or whatever, so that to make sure that they are successful at the end of the day.
Okay, thanks. Stav, you get the last word. So, I know you've got like a special structure with the Cyber Club, so tell us about it.
Yes. So first of all, I'm honored to be on this panel with 2 of the leading cyber investors in Israel, so that's really my pleasure. And as both Kobi and Elik mentioned, first of all, let's face the facts. There is a competition for good startups among VCs. Usually a good startup will get 5-7 term sheets from good VCs, and it's for them to choose. And now how a startup will make this choice, which sometimes is a difficult decision. So founders are looking for value. They're looking for smart money. Founders many times will give up on term sheet, which is more appealing financially, but they will take a VC which can help them grow better or help them support them on the journey that they want to follow. So that's something that founders definitely take into considerations. It's all about the value. It's all about how many connections you can make for them, how many doors can you help them open, how many connections you have with other VCs which will top up and will join this investment in this company in further rounds. So what other investors you can bring is definitely a criteria that founders are looking for and discussing with all of us about. The track record of the VC is also very important. In economics there is this principle of whatever was in the past will come again in the future. It sounds better in Hebrew. But that's something that founders are also looking at. And I think, in a nutshell, that's about it.
Great. So let me ask you a final question with the 12 seconds we have left. And that is, are you guys sticking around for a little bit? Can the people in the audience pitch you?
Of course.
Of course, that's why we're here.
This is our day job.
Pleasure.
Okay, super. So let's have a nice round of applause for a great group of VCs. Thank you.